What's up, people? This is the Believe in Saints podcast presented by FanDuel Training Camp Edition. I am Mario Jerez, Spanish play-by-play voice of the Saints, native New Orleanian. She is my co-host, Erin Summers, veteran reporter and analyst covering the Saints and the NFL as a whole. Erin, it was fun being out there today, to be honest with you. The music blaring, the smell of the grass, guys actually hitting each other. That was a lot of fun. So looking forward to breaking all that down with you here today. How are you?
Great. Excitement levels extremely high. We mentioned it with Mickey Loomis yesterday. Optimism for sure is bleeding into the team as well. The players seem like they have high expectations for this season and they are willing to talk about it and put it out there. And I know the fans are going to be excited to get out there because that all starts on Thursday and Friday with open practices before they have their first off day on Saturday.
That's right. They are out there. They are practicing. They are hitting. We will break down the first practice on the show here today. We had, for the most part, I have in my notes, Erin, for the most part, good news on the health slab participation front. That got a
Yeah.
wrench thrown into it a second ago, which we'll talk about in a moment. And we'll also talk about Tyler Shough, other Saints players, including Justin Reed, Alvin, Kamara, addressing the media and break down everything that they had to say. So a lot of happy notes from today's practice, Erin. Jordyn Tyson was finally out there. Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan both now back in the fold with the 2026 Saints. But we had to start the show on a sour note as Ian Rappaport, less than 20 minutes ago at the time of this recording, reported that Bryan Bresee left the Saints practice early today, and he is feared. That's the key terminology right now. He
Mhm.
is feared to have torn an ACL. And we were talking about this off mic. This just sucks. This is a player who was coming into a really big season, has shown some really good stuff in his career, has shown some areas to improve in as well. But I was looking forward to watching him attack that. I said on the show, I kind of called my shot. I thought he was going to have a big season this year. We've talked so much about the young guys on the interior defensive line and how much the Saints are going to count on them. It looks like now they're going to be counting on them even more because Bryan Bresee suffered a significant injury at practice today.
It's really tough when you have an injury like that. Day one of training camp, you don't even get to a game. I know that that has got to be tough for Bryan Bresee to deal with. If it is truly an ACL, he will be out for the entire season. So, awaiting further testing there. Without Bresee on the defensive line, you have Vernon Broughton behind him, who we heard Mickey Loomis speak very highly of yesterday. Players around him have spoken highly of him. He has an opportunity now to step in to an open position essentially and take over that role there. You have Devon Godshaw, Christian Boyd, another player who's going to be fighting for more time, Christian Miller, who you just drafted. A lot of people are excited about what he can do on the field, the physicality that he plays with. He was a full participant today, which we did not see in OTAs and minicamp prior. So that is good news in terms of the health situation for the defensive line. Then you have Nathan Shepard, John Ridgeway, also players who have experience here in that defensive tackle position. So you have options. You just were really excited about what Bryan Bresee was going to be able to bring to the team this year. He's improved each season since he's been drafted, and I think they were expecting this to be a huge year for him, second year in a new system under Brandon Staley, and what you were able to see out of him last year.
Man, really just a punch in the stomach with, like you were saying, all the optimism in the words today. So that is just really unfortunate. I think Ridgeway is an interesting name. You mentioned him
Mhm.
towards the end there. Got him in a trade, I believe, from the Commanders, extended his contract. And he is just, I noticed him today because he is just a large human. Like, he is
Mhm.
really good at plugging up those run gaps. They might ask him to play some more late downs now this season, but that's somebody who was in a smaller role and now is going to be in a bigger role, quite literally, for the New Orleans Saints.
Consistency, though, is key right now with the defense across the board. All of these players know the system now. They've had a year under their belt. So hopefully that helps the players that are going to have to be sliding into a larger role. Because if Bryan Bresee is unable to go this year, then someone is going to have to step up.
That's right. Switching to the offensive side of the football, Chris Olave was at practice today, but he's doing what's called a hold in. This has changed a
Mhm.
little bit with the new CBA. They don't miss practice altogether, but they don't do certain drills like team drills, 7-on-7. That was pretty much the case with Chris Olave today. And they asked Kellen Moore about it when he addressed the media after he basically confirmed what we all thought. This is a quote, just respecting the business side, and the decision is mutual. I'm just waiting for the news that the contract is done, and for us to react to it. I said that yesterday. I feel like this is something that is a matter of time, but it wasn't the time today. And Chris Olave was holding in at the first practice.
I don't blame him. He doesn't want to risk injury while he's trying to solidify a large contract for his future. He's done everything that he needed to this offseason. He has been in the building. He's worked out with Tyler Shough. He went to San Diego on their retreat there. He's put in the work and the effort, and now he just wants it to get done. So the hold in. And he is there. He is hyping everybody else around him, participating in a limited fashion. Doesn't seem like anybody on the team holds any ill will towards him for doing this. They understand the business aspect of it as well. Kellen Moore alluded to that. Mickey Loomis said they're just not quite there yet yesterday. Hopefully they get there soon so we can see him participate fully in training camp and alongside Jordyn Tyson, who we got to see today.
Yes, good observation. And I do want to point out that Olave did participate throughout all of OTAs, was basically a full go. Jordyn Tyson was not, but he was today. And it was great seeing him out there. And I'm not even going to lie to you, in the number 0, basically no restrictions. Like they said yesterday that there might be a ramp up period. They're going to see how he looks, but he was out there, barely practiced, like we said, at times did not practice at all during the OTAs, but was at the open session today. And if there was a ramp up plan just based on today, Erin, I would think that it's over. And it's nice that on this show and on other shows, people can talk about what Jordyn Tyson actually brings to the Saints wide receiver room and not just talk about his hamstrings, because they look good today.
Yeah, they said yesterday that they were going to talk to him after practice, see how he felt, allow him to go fully, and then make the plan from there. They called it an acclimation period. Hopefully he's good and everything feels good and he's able to continue at this rate and play the entirety of training camp and get that experience that he definitely needs at this level, since he wasn't able to participate in the OTAs or mini camp to a full extent. Because I think that's the chemistry. You need that. You need that with a new player on the team, somebody who is going to hold a very important role with Tyler Shough and the rest of the offense. You want to see them on the field together.
And you said it. It's going to be a significant role. Like, I think the Saints were very intentional with this draft pick. He's somebody who is going to be, I don't want to say featured, but definitely a big part of what Kellen Moore and company are trying to do on offense. And I feel like I need to dial it back a little bit, Erin. Like, I'm just so excited to actually see him out there and be able to talk about what he can do on the football field. And as a Saints fan, the last 20 years, the Saints have had some really good production from rookie wide receivers. When you think about Marcus Colston and Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, who went over 1,000 yards as a rookie, like, this is somebody who, if he's on the field, I'm expecting to be a big part of the Saints offense. And he's only a rookie, yes, but with Tyler Shough at the helm, with Chris Olave as a complement, I think this is somebody who can put up some pretty big numbers with his first season in the NFL.
It was interesting to hear Tyler Shough talk about him, because Shough was just a glowing endorsement, saying the talent is absolutely there, but his desire to be great and the work that he puts in, and you can just tell in the way that he takes the field that he wants to be better than he is in this moment and the best that he can be. You listed some pretty good Saints receivers there on that list. So maybe in 10 years, Jordyn Tyson is one of those players we're talking about being one of the best receivers that the Saints have ever had.
And the first one in the Kellen Moore era, which would be really, really exciting that the Saints actually drafted. And the expectations for him are high inside the building, outside the building. I think other fan bases are expecting to put up numbers as well. Looking at the odds over at our friends from FanDuel, his over-under at the moment is set at 750.5. So over -114 odds, under the same -114. That's pretty high for a rookie, I feel like, but it goes with what I'm saying. Like, this is an offensive coach. They invested highly on offense, especially in the draft when they drafted 3 wide receivers, first time since 1989. So that is a very reasonable number for Jordyn Tyson. But I'll do you one better, Erin. I have a little bit of a friskier bet that I'm looking at here with Jordyn. 10 plus regular season receiving touchdowns. Jordyn Tyson. listed at plus 1,200 at FanDuel. Those are 12-1 odds. You bet $10, you get back 120. You bet 100, you make 1,200, so on and so forth, right? And I will point out that it doesn't look great because the rookie record for a Saints wide receiver is 9 touchdowns, and you need him to get 10 here. But I'm having a lot of fun with the numbers in my head, Aaron, because Marcus Colston broke this record, rookie receiving touchdown for the Saints in 2006, 9 touchdowns. Mike Thomas broke that record 10 years later in 2016, or he tied it, I should say, tied the record in 2016 with 9 touchdowns. It's now 10 years after that. Is it time for Jordyn Tyson to break that record? Maybe, maybe not, but at 12-1 odds, I think it's worth a sprinkle. Like, him catching 10 touchdowns would quite literally be unprecedented for a Saints rookie. But given what the Saints have on offense, given that Tyler Shough's coming back, Olave is going to be in the fold, I don't think it's the craziest thing. I might put a little sprinkle on the 12-1, 10 plus touchdowns as a rookie for Jordyn Tyson.
It seems like this offense is going to play pretty fast. They are going to look for opportunities to get down the field, ideally establish that run game, but they're going to try to catch defenses at times as well. So I think they're going to rely on a very balanced attack, and there's going to be opportunities for a lot of the receivers to get involved. I think they're going to distribute the ball through the tight ends, the running backs, the receivers, ideally putting up a lot of points. I heard them talk about their red zone percentage today and the slow starts. So they are very cognizant of the areas where they can be better to increase their opportunities on the offensive side there and get these players and their numbers up as well.
The unpredictability of it is what excites me. Like, Kellen Moore is a young guy, but he's coached a lot of football, and I feel like he's had a lot of success with different molds of quarterback. Like, Shough was good as a rookie. Justin Herbert was good when he was calling plays for them. Jalen Hurts was really efficient. He's a completely different mold than the other guys that we're talking about right now. So just the unpredictability of the Saints on offense is really exciting me going into this year.
Yeah, there's going to be so many options, the versatility that we're going to see from this offense. I think that the expanded playbook with the weapons that they've added, I'm really excited to see what they're able to do. And I couldn't stop acknowledging or paying attention to the fact that everybody who took the mic today talked about the confidence and the command that Tyler Shough is playing with, and that he is taking on that leadership role that you want from your quarterback, even in just year 2. Alvin Kamara said the team absolutely respects him. When he says something, they listen, they trust him in the huddle. Kellen Moore is giving him more of the reins. So I think that we're going to see a little more creativity from this offense as well. So I get it. I understand why you're excited and you can't wait to actually see. I mean, we finally got to training camp and we're already asking for a game.
Yes, exactly. Just a lot of newness, a lot of unpredictability, exciting stuff. Maybe I'm overly excited, but those are my honest feelings right now. What did you think of the defense out there at practice today, Aaron? Jonas Sanker took the first team slot reps, which we knew would be the case. There's been a little bit of movement behind him. Jaden Price took the second team reps today. He had some injuries. It looked like maybe some other guys passed him on the depth chart, but that wasn't the case today. I thought they were flying around and looked really good, all things considered. What did you think of the defense today?
It really stood out to me that there was no changes on the defense during the offseason. There really wasn't a lot of new players brought in. Of course, a couple defensive end, defensive line, but the majority of the change we saw was on the offensive side of the ball. And the defense has that continuity from year 1 to year 2 under Brandon Staley. They understand what the expectations are, what they're supposed to do. Everyone is going to be in very similar roles that they were in last year. So, Justin Reed said last year we were on page 1 here, and now we're on the 7th ring of it. So I think that they are going to be so much further ahead where they were last year because that learning, the acclimation period is over. They were a top 10 defense last year when it was all said and done. And I think we're going to see that improve from jump this year.
Yeah, that's a good point because as fired up as I am in my head about the offense and how much I'm talking about them, maybe I'm sleeping on the defense just a little bit. And maybe this could be a situation where you're working in so many new guys, some of them rookies, that the offense might just have to come along a little bit. Like, they'll be much better towards the middle of the season and the end of the season compared to the beginning. And defensively, in my head, Aaron, I don't know why I'm feeling like the Saints will regress. I feel like they just had so much success last year, overachieved a little bit. But common sense would tell you that, yeah, they didn't add very much, but it is the same cast of characters. Some guys have more experience. Mickey Loomis talked so much about Kool-Aid's jump from year 2 to year 3, hoping more guys do that this year. Also, the rookies getting more comfortable in the NFL going into their second season. Maybe I'm not giving the Saints defense enough credit. Like, it's not the most star-studded crew, but they did some really good stuff last year, and they're bringing most of those guys back in 2026.
Yeah, Justin Reed, he stopped during his description of the defense and was like, let me tell you about Kool-Aid McKinstry, because Kool-Aid McKinstry is a baller. He is going to be somebody that takes a huge step forward. Physically, he showed up different. He's attacked the offseason. He looks like he's going to take another jump from what we saw last year. And that's definitely going to be needed for this defense. You heard the praise from Loomis. I'm interested to see what he does. Reed said that this defense in general is going to be controlled chaos, which is exactly how Kool-Aid plays. He said people are going to remember the New Orleans Saints when they play them this year, whether that's the physicality that they bring or the disruption that they bring. I think all of that is going to be a fun brand of football that we'll be looking forward to watching every Sunday and a Monday this year for the Saints. And I just got to give Justin Reed a shout out too, because he's always so good with the media, and he was so good with us, talking to us a couple weeks ago on the podcast, being a guest for us and spending that time going above and beyond to dive into the defense on a different level before they got to training camp. And it's something that is always, heartwarming when someone goes that extra mile. And I know ZipRecruiter does that as well. If you're hiring, they will find great candidates. They can also go the extra step, tell you why these candidates are perfect for you on ZipRecruiter, ziprecruiter.com/audio. And they just have this matching technology that finds those qualified candidates. They're the #1 rated hiring site. So there's a lot of things that are good with them. And like I said, Justin Reed goes the extra mile every day talking to us on the field, and ZipRecruiter can for you as well.
Well said. And if you haven't checked out that interview with Justin Reed and Aaron and I, definitely go check it out. Lots of good stuff, not just talking about the Saints, but also about his background, his come up, his parents, which was awesome. And that stood out to me when he said that, Aaron, because he told us the same exact thing about a month ago. It is not lip service. Whatever Kool-Aid McKinstry is doing is catching the attention of Justin Reed and the Saints defense. And I'm starting to get pretty pumped up about Kool-Aid. I mean, look at the jump that he made last year. Imagine what he'll do now with not just more experience, but also some more confidence. And I got to say, he's one of my favorite players to broadcast for in the Spanish broadcast. I do the games, and we have a lot of fun. We probably do some stuff that they probably wouldn't do on the English version, just in terms of making jokes and references and stuff like that. And whenever Kool-Aid makes a play, I like to, broadcast a play. Kool-Aid McKinstry. Oh, yeah. So hopefully we get a lot of oh, yeahs this year. He's looking really good in practice and had a really nice PBU against Devon Vele over the middle. I try to not cite too many plays and give guys stats, because this is practice at the end of the day. But he had a really nice PBU on Devon Vele in practice today, and that supports everything that Justin Reed and teammates are saying about him right now.
In general, I alluded to it at the beginning of the episode, the energy, the optimism around the team just seems at all-time high. Alvin Kamara, just the way he spoke about Kellen Moore and how much he trusts Kellen, that he likes what Kellen's doing, that he always has a why for everything that he's asking for them, the way that Tyler Shough is stepping into that leadership role, the confidence that he has. I think that when you have that from the head person on your coaching staff and the quarterback, the leader on the offense, Alvin Kamara used the word synergy. They're completely on the same page. It's really good, and it makes everybody else around you more comfortable to know that these are the expectations. These are why you're being asked to do this. This is the standard we're going to hold you to. And to a T, everyone said that last year wasn't what they wanted to put out on the field. That's not the product that they were proud of. A 6-11 season, the number of losses that they had to start the year. They said that every single one of them is focused on being better this year, but it starts with the work that they're putting in right now. And they are committed to that. They're supporting each other, self evaluated, and each person, like I said, to a T, is committed to this team being as good as they can be. And personally, they all have high expectations.
It just feels like the Saints had such a great offseason, Aaron, and soon the games will start. People can say we were over optimistic if they start losing games, but not just the continuity, but the mix
Mhm.
of youth and veteran leadership. Like, I really like it. Justin Reed is a Super Bowl champion. He knows what he's talking about when he says stuff like this. David Edwards got close to a Super Bowl with Buffalo, played with some really good quarterbacks and Josh Allen and Matt Stafford. Like, yes, you're relying on some young guys to kind of usher in a new era, but you have some really decorated, really accomplished guys to help them do that. And that's on both sides of the football. So I think all of that definitely feeds into the optimism going into this season.
I want to just also talk about the running back room because they're not getting a lot of love. And I'm a little more optimistic about what we're going to see from Alvin Kamara and Travis Etienne than apparently nationally people are right now. AK
Yeah.
took first team reps today. Some of them. He split them with Travis Etienne. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. AK said that. He said, I'm not sure what offensively the run game is going to be, but I like having somebody with me in the backfield. He said, I feed off of that. There's not so much pressure on you. He said, I like having somebody else back there with me. We've alluded to it in the past with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram and how well that duo worked. Sounds like Alvin's really excited about playing alongside Travis Etienne. So they took the first team reps. Second team reps were Kendra and Devin Neal rotating in and out. So right now, it looks like those are your four primary backs. What the distribution is going to be, what downs they play, how often they play together is still to be determined. But it was interesting that we did see AK taking those reps with the first team today.
No, I'm with you, and I don't always agree with you on the show, but I'm with you 100% with the combo of Alvin Kamara and Travis Etienne, especially in the fantasy community. I noticed like Travis Etienne specifically really sliding down draft boards, and it's just like,
Mhm.
what am I looking at? The stats are there, the tape looks really good. You can argue he's never had as good of like a compliment as Alvin Kamara if Alvin gets back to like his normal form. So yes, as a duo, I'm excited to watch those guys. I feel like they're being slept on a little bit. And to me, Kendre Miller today, with how he looked, kind of threw a wrench in how I talk about the room after AK and HN.
Mhm.
Because he looks good, Aaron. And I don't claim to be a talent evaluator or a scout or anything like that. But if he's healthy, I'm confident to say that he has a higher ceiling than anyone in that room, not named Alvin Kamara and not named Travis Achan. So if he's healthy throughout camp, this is going to be a really interesting decision. And then his role in the offense is going to be really interesting because I think the floors are higher with Devin Neal, with Estime, just based on their health, what they've already done. But the ceiling feels really high with Kendre Miller. And I'm excited to see what he could do the rest of this training camp and going into preseason.
He's a brick wall that can move. So I wouldn't want to be running up against that, having to block him or being in that battle with him. So we'll see. Health has been the issue. We just got to make sure that he is able to play.
Yep, that's the name of the game for Kendre Miller. Tyler Shough has been able to play. He's played really well for the Saints throughout his NFL career, at least so far. Some of what he said stood out to me in the press conference, Aaron, kind of addressing the media, talked about
Mhm.
the optimism, talked about feeling more comfortable. And that was apparent in watching him today. And we've talked
Mhm.
about that so much on the show, the difference of this time last year when he was a rookie, when he was splitting reps versus right now. And it's the big things, obviously, command, pre-snap looking clean, but the little things as well. He looks a lot looser. And I noticed that he had a individual handshake with each one of his offensive linemen, at least the starting five. Maybe I'm looking into that a little bit too much, but I thought that was pretty cool. So his words support kind of his actions. And I thought Tyler Shough looked like a starting NFL quarterback who's ready to have a big season in practice today.
It was interesting to me because while everybody else has been hyping up the Saints and very optimistic, Tyler Shough seems to be tempering those expectations around him a little bit. He said, I didn't play a full season last year. This is almost like a rookie season for me again, because he's coming in and he knows now he is going to be able to play from day one the entire season. This is going to be his first full example of what he can be as a quarterback. So I think, it's not that he's feeling pressure to perform. I just think he wants to internally make sure that he's playing free. He's doing the things that he needs to do. He's working out with his teammates, developing the chemistry on and off the field, and the results will come, and not get ahead of himself in that regard. But I like everything that he's done during the offseason. We talked about it a lot. He went into a lot of the trip that he took with the players out to San Diego, Drew Brees working out with them, the competitions that he had with Brees' son, and then the rest of his teammates. There was a little friendly competition, which is good because I think that just pushes people to be better. But the fact that he spent an entire week with Juwan Johnson and his family, and they've had that relationship since Oregon, but really investing in these relationships that he has with his teammates. And when you get into a tough situation, you need to know how you can relate and reach somebody and how to communicate with them in a way that will work. And you don't have a lot of time when it's 4th and 1 and you have to get into the end zone to figure out what's going to work, right? To get somebody to do what you need them to do. If there's the crowd that's coming, yelling, whatever, the environment, stakes are high. So you want to be able to trust the people around you, know how you can communicate effectively. And that's what he's doing right now, building that framework.
Yeah, he seems to be a sponge, taking everything in, trying to learn from his rookie season, trying to learn from Drew, and all that is really nice to see. And I think it's a good blend of him looking loose, him and his teammates having fun, but also being really business throughout practice. And we talked about the backup quarterback competition in the last show. I think Spencer Rattler is way ahead of Zach Wilson, and that continues today after watching them in the first practice session. But I do have to say I was nice to Spencer last episode. I'll be a little critical of him here. I thought last offseason when they were in that battle, he was just a little too, and this is going maybe a little too far in his criticism, but honest opinion. I thought he was a little too loose at practice, joking around, spanking guys in the butt. And it's it's good to be loose, but this is a team that's missed the playoffs 4 straight seasons. There's a lot of pressure on the coaching staff. I'd like to see you be a little bit more business-like. And I never went public with that last offseason because it's not that big of a deal. But I do notice a difference in watching Tyler Shough now versus watching Spencer Rattler last season. And obviously Tyler Shough is the unquestioned starter now.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for sure. And different leadership styles, different ways to connect with your teammates. And we're seeing Tyler Shough, who's been in multiple different places, that's had to assimilate with a locker room and a team around him. This is his 5th time now because he went through 4 different programs in college. He, I think, is just showing his maturity and his ability to do that at a different level.
And that's making me feel better about the whole Jordyn Tyson thing as well, because this time last year, even though Tyler wasn't the starting quarterback, we were talking a lot about his injury history and him not being on the field and stuff. So that definitely inspires confidence for Jordyn Tyson going into his rookie season. Before we wrap up the show, Erin, I did want to take another quick glance around the NFC South because we had some pretty significant news out of both Carolina and Atlanta today, starting with the Panthers, who I feel terrible for right now. I know they're a division rival, but if I had any friends that were a Panthers fan, I'd probably go try to give them a hug or something like that because they've just had a really bad go of injuries since training camp started. We talked about Nick Scourton, second-year linebacker, probably going to miss the season after going down in one of their practices. And today, Chris Broussard, Chris Broussard Jr., is the latest Carolina Panther to go down. He was carted off of the field. We're still waiting for further information on the specifics of that injury, but it doesn't look good. And Carolina is obviously the defending division champ, but already going through some stuff before we even hit August in the calendar here.
Yeah, the Panthers are dealing with the injuries, although they did start practice last week, so they've had a few more under their belt. They've got the pads on already. the Falcons continue to just every day. It's like, man, now it sounds like Michael Penix is going to be out for at least a month more, coming back from his injury. They released Trevor Siemian today, so they are trying other quarterbacks out. I don't know who's running their offense down there right now.
Man, Nick, I should know this. I'm sorry. It's Nick something. Falcons
That
QB. We have to Google who it is, which tells you
it's
kind of
only
how
going to
we're.
be one. There's only one guy left.
Yeah, no, not good for the Atlanta Falcons. Trevor Siemian, I thought might have an opportunity, but yeah, not good. And Bijan Robinson did not practice today. Apparently, and it's not confirmed, but it looks to be like a contract situation with him. Kevin Stefanski didn't really address it, but common sense would tell you that's what's going on over there. And yesterday, I made the analogy of the Falcons being like that really, really bad house in a bad neighborhood that has like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, really nice car in the parking lot. I think the Ferrari might get impounded with Bijan Robinson not being at practice today. So that is not good news for the Falcons, who frankly have not had a very good offseason.
Yeah. There's a lot going on across the NFC South right now. And although the injury to Bryan Bresee is awful and will impact the Saints, it happened early. If he is going to be out for the season, they can use all of training camp to bring somebody else along. And the rest of the team seems to be like they're in a good spot. The continuity of the coaching staff, the players talking about how much further they are ahead of where they were last season at this point. Right now, the Saints are in the drama-free zone. So we want to keep it that way.
Yes, definitely want to keep it that way. For what it's worth, Jamar Gibbs also didn't practice for the Detroit Lions today. Similar situation with Bijan Robinson. So lots going on, and not even in the month of August yet. And there will be lots going on the show. We'll have at least one more episode this week talking about Saints training camp. We'll preview the preseason the next couple weeks, and soon we'll have actual games to break down. So for the most part, happy show today, Aaron. Sucks about Bryan Bresee, but hopefully somebody else steps up there. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
No, it's good to get the first one done and in the books. Excited for the fans to be back out there on Airline Thursday and Friday. And we'll have another episode on Friday to wrap up the end of the week before that first break in action on Saturday. Coach Moore said he's going to try to keep the players out there in that heat as much as possible. Short practice today, but he definitely understands and thinks there is a benefit to running them in that Louisiana weather.
Yep, getting calloused for that heat. That's definitely going to serve the Saints well for the rest of the season. Don't forget about our friends at Katie's, 3701 Iberville Street. Scott Craig and the gang dishing out some of the best food in New Orleans. One of the most authentic New Orleans restaurants, whatever you want, whether it's fresh seafood. Their pizza is amazing. Very underrated burgers over there at Katie's. So whether you want a good meal, you want to watch a game with your buddies, have a good time, go see our friends at Katie's, 3701 Iberville Street, proud partner of Believe in Saints. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For Erin Summers, I'm Mario Jerez, Spanish play-by-play voice of the Saints, saying thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will talk to y'all real soon, break down some more training camp, and look ahead to the 2026 season. Thank y'all. Who dat?